Photoelectron spectroscopy is an experimental method that can be used to determine the electron configuration of an atom. So first, a light beam is fired from an electromagnetic radiation source or a photon source onto a sample. And the photons carry energy in the extreme ultraviolet range, which is invisible to the human eye. So here we can see the visible light spectrum. And if the photon carries the exact amount of energy to eject an electron, so remember that the energy of an electron is quantized, then the electron absorbs a photon and gets ejected. So this is known as the photoelectric effect. So the electron that absorbed the photon and got ejected is a photoelectron. And the photoelectron flies at some velocity into an energy analyzer for the binding energy to be computed. So the energy from the electromagnetic radiation source is equal to Planck's constant by the frequency, and that's equal to the binding energy plus the kinetic energy of the photoelectron. And this binding energy is the ionization energy, or energy required to eject an electron, so it's not the nuclear binding energy. So from the speed of the photoelectron, the kinetic energy is computed, and this can be rearranged into the following expression for computing the binding energy. So the energy analyzer counts the electrons with different binding energies, and here is an example of a photoelectron spectrum that's obtained to determine the electron configuration of the unknown atom. Given the following photoelectron spectrum, which is obtained using photoelectron spectroscopy, and this spectrum is idealized as a real one is messy and requires an expert to read it. So each peak here represents a subshell. So an electron in this subshell requires around 6 electron volts to eject it. And for this subshell, the binding energy is around 76 electron volts. So following the periodic table, we start at energy level 1 and move to the right and down. So the first peak represents the 1s subshell, and the second peak represents the 2s subshell. So this must be the valence shell, because it's a lot easier to eject an electron, as it has a much lower binding energy than the 1s subshell. And the relative heights of the peaks tell us the ratio of electrons between the subshells. So for every 1 electron in a 2s subshell, there's 2 electrons in the 1s subshell. So therefore, using the periodic table, we have 1s2 and 2s1, which is the electron configuration for lithium. Identify the element in the periodic table represented by the following photoelectron spectrum. So we start from the nucleus, from the shell with the highest binding energy, and work our way to the valence shell. And you can follow the periodic table to do this, going from each energy level in order. So we know that the subshells closer to the nucleus get filled first, and the s subshells take 2 electrons. So we can see that the p subshell has 2, 4, 6 electrons, and the 3s has 2 electrons, and the 3p subshell, relative to the 1s subshell, has 5 electrons, as we can see. So therefore the electron configuration of our element is written as follows. And that's representative of chlorine. Let's identify the element in the periodic table represented by the following photoelectron spectrum. So we can work our way through the periodic table in order of energy levels. So basically the subshells closest to the nucleus to the valence shell. So what we have is the 1s, 2s, 2p, and so on. And note that the d subshell takes 10 electrons. whereas the p subshell takes 6 electrons. And the s subshells are 2 elements wide, so they take 2 electrons. So knowing this, we can write the number of electrons against each of those subshells. And as we can determine, the 4p subshell, in this case, takes 2 electrons, according to the scale of this graph. So we can write the electron configuration of our element as follows. And this is the electron configuration of germanium. The first ionization energy is recorded as follows from a photoelectron spectroscopy experiment. Determine the wavelength of light required to ionize one atom in nanometers, and we're given Planck's constant and the speed of light. And assume the kinetic energy of the ejected electron is 1.248 electron volts, which we can convert to joules. So we know that the energy from the electromagnetic radiation source is equal to Planck's constant by the frequency of light. And that's equal to the ionization energy plus the kinetic energy of the ejected electron. Now the binding energy is given in megajoules per mole. So we need to convert it in units of joules per atom. So we get this in units of joules per atom. And the kinetic energy of the ejected electron can be converted from electron volts to joules. And then you can substitute into this expression and divide through by Planck's constant, which gives you the frequency of light, which will be in units of 1/2. And the wavelength of light can be obtained using the following expression, where the speed of light is the wavelength by the frequency. Then using this constant for the speed of light, you'll obtain the wavelength in units of meters, then convert this to nanometers. Then use the correct number of significant figures and post your answer in the comments.